everyone. So for today's video, I'm going to be doing a review on one of the attachments I picked up for my Kombi. So I have the Stihl Kombi 131R 4-stroke model. It actually runs off a 2-stroke mix, so there's no oil in it. It's just the oil it gets is from the 2-stroke mix. But anyway, this is the mini cultivator. This is the attachment I'm going to be reviewing today. So it's about 8 inches wide, or 12 inches if you're using my tape measure, but it actually fits pretty nice in between rows. So it's kind of nice. I'll head over to the garden and show you. I already have some of it prepped. Essentially, I did leave a section down here so you can see how well the unit works. But so this is, we have nothing growing in this section. I just kind of use that as a sample, but I'm going to use that unit to get in between the rows to knock some of that grass down and kind of put that into the soil. But I did notice one thing with this unit that's a bit of a screw up, and I'll show you in a minute. It came this way from the factory, so I'm gonna have to fix it, and I'd figure for this video I'll show you how to fix it in case anybody runs into this issue. But it's actually pretty decent safety concern. So actually, let's just jump into it and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So this is the way it should not be working. So you can see from the video, the head's rotating in the wrong direction. It's definitely a safety concern. I did have steel toe boots on. I knew what was going to happen. I've used it before. I was just showing you for demonstration purposes. But yeah, so has nothing to do with the way it connects to the shaft. It has to do with this right here. So this is upside down, and then this needs to be replaced. 2 screws should be easy enough to replace. It should have been replaced or fixed at the dealer. There was in fact a recall. I guess it came incorrect from the factory. So you have these 2 screws that you have to take out, and you should be able to just rotate the head around. So let's get into it. It's literally that easy. So make sure if you pick one of these up, you check it first. Otherwise, it could be a bad day. But anyways, regarding this is more of a cultivator than an actual rototiller. I've actually hit some pretty decent sized rocks with it, and it's held up really good. But yeah, no, let's take a look at the difference now that it's fixed. So as you can see from that, it's definitely a lot more manageable. But so yeah, let's wrap up this garden. I'll put a quick time lapse up. All right, so I think you could tell from that, it does a pretty decent job. Makes quick work of things. So we'll just let this grass decompose and work its way back into the soil. But you can see this is that weedy section. That's no longer, I should say the weeds are no longer alive. They'll be dead pretty soon. But the thing holds up pretty decent. You can see the chunks of rocks that spits up. And the tines are actually still in really good shape. So I'll bring you over to everything. Everything seemed to be doing pretty decent this year, except for the spinach and beans. This is the row of beans, not very good. Tomatoes are coming in good. The corn looks very sporadic. That's not because of the way it germinated or the planter. That's because of our lovely dogs. So yeah, the dogs pretty much it seems like as soon as the corn started coming up, and now that the corn's this height, especially this side over here, you can probably see it a little better, just the rows that they take out from rolling around and fighting in here. Pretty aggravating, but it's usually about right now that they make a beeline right through the corn and destroy it. Like I said, moving on over to this little area over here, the pumpkins are doing pretty decent. What I did is I planted pumpkins, soybeans, pumpkins, soybeans, pumpkins. I don't know if it's the deer or rabbits or what, but they're nipping the tops off the soybeans pretty good. So I think this section will be a pretty good example of the quick work that cultivator can make of this. All right, so we're all wrapped up with the cultivator, and so this is the end result. We have, I ended up leaving whatever little bit of beans were left, but you can see essentially anything that's green right now should be there, with the exception of this little stuff that's kind of just loose on top. Let that decompose. Sunflowers are doing decent over here. We did have some beans growing up between that grass, so I just left that. I don't want to get too crazy, but what I'll probably end up doing in that section over there is throwing a conservation mix down, and actually have some food plot mix left over, so I'll just throw that in this half of the garden, and just leave the rest of this for the pumpkins. All right, so I got to wrap up quick because the GoPro's chirping at me, but if you want to garden like a boss, buy that cultivator. Make sure it's rotating the correct way before you use it. If you like what you see, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you next time.